Hey everyone, and welcome back to US Frights. Here, we dive into the chilling tales that will make your heart race. Today, we have a story from a truck driver named Mark, who's from the mountains of Colorado. He's sharing a true account of a night that changed him forever. Before we start, let me tell you, this one is going to send shivers down your spine. If you're new to US Frights, please hit that subscribe button and don't forget to like this video so I can keep bringing you more unsettling stories. My name is Mark, and I've been a truck driver for over 20 years. It's more than just a job, it's a life. I've seen countless roads across this country, from the winding mountain passes to the straight, endless highways of the plains. I've driven through scorching deserts and navigated dense fog with just my headlights to guide me. Sometimes I found myself in forests so remote that my phone had no signal and every shadow seemed to hide something. But one particular journey, one terrifying night, shook me to my core. Today, I'm going to tell you about that night, a night that still haunts my dreams. This happened about 8 years ago. I had a co-driver, a good kid named David. David was a straightforward, hardworking, and honest guy. He always respected me and handled every task with responsibility. He'd only been with me for about a month, but his dedication had already won me over. Like many times before, we were hauling cargo from our home state to another. It was a long drive, expected to take a full day and a night. We loaded up early, around 6 a.m. David asked, "Boss, cargo's loaded, ready to roll." I replied, "Yep, let's go. It's a long road ahead, no time to waste." And with that, we set off towards our destination. After a few hours of driving, we stopped at a roadside diner for breakfast and then continued our journey. Everything was going smoothly, just like any other day. We talked, listened to the radio, enjoying the drive to pass the time. Well, I mentioned David earlier because my previous co-driver was lazy and had a bad habit of substance abuse, which eventually led me to let him go. David, however, was the complete opposite, a real gem. We drove steadily throughout the day, as delivering the cargo on time was crucial. My dispatcher had even promised a bonus for an early delivery. We took short breaks for coffee and stopped at another diner for lunch. So far, so good, but we had no idea what awaited us. As evening approached, the light faded and night began to fall. Friends, I never used to believe in ghosts or supernatural things, and neither did David. In this day and age, most people dismiss such talk, but sometimes things happen that force you to believe, whether you want to or not. By 10 p.m., I was starving. "David," I said, "I'm really hungry. Let me know if you spot a diner." David confessed he was hungry too and was about to say the same thing. "No worries," I told him. "We'll grab a bite as soon as we find a place." We drove for a good while, but no diners appeared. Then up ahead we saw it, a massive traffic jam on the freeway. Cars stretched for miles. A man approached our truck. He seemed like another trucker. I asked, "Excuse me, sir, what's going on? Why the jam?" He explained that a rock slide had blocked the freeway, and no heavy machinery had arrived yet to clear it. "Until they get a crew out here," he said, "this jam isn't moving." I immediately felt a pang of worry. The cargo had to be delivered on time. Seeing my concern, the man asked, "Where are you headed?" I told him our destination. He then suggested, "Look, my truck's stuck deep in this jam. No way I can turn around. But you can take a shortcut. About a mile back, there's a turnoff, a back road. It'll get you to your destination quicker and save you some gas." I felt a glimmer of hope. We'd seen that road earlier, but I'd assumed it led to some local farms. I never imagined there'd be a jam. I thanked him and started to reverse my truck. But as I did, he came closer to my window and said, "Listen carefully. That road is a shortcut, but it requires caution. Do not stop your truck on that road. If you absolutely have to, do not get out. It's not safe at night, very few cars use it." He shared a few more warnings about the road, but nothing about anything supernatural. I told him, "Understood, we'll be careful." He added, "If my truck wasn't stuck, I'd come with you." Friends, they say what's meant to happen will happen. Perhaps that night was destined for us. We had no idea how heavy a price we were about to pay for taking that shortcut. Soon we reached the turnoff, the road the man had told us about. It branched off the freeway and wound into a dense forest. Without much thought, we steered the truck onto it. We didn't even consider if it was wise to take a fully loaded truck down a secluded forest road at night. Perhaps our haste had blinded us. After driving a little further, I told David, "David, I'm starving and I can't wait any longer." He replied, "Yeah, boss, it's probably impossible to find a diner on this road. We'll have to tough it out until we hit the other side of the freeway." I suggested, "Let's find an open spot. We'll cook our meal in the truck. Who knows how long it'll take us to reach the main highway? This road is new to us." David agreed to cook in the truck. A little further on, we found an open clearing. I pulled the truck over to the side and stopped. It was summer, and the truck was sweltering, so we decided to cook outside. There was even a fresh spring nearby, which was a bonus. We pulled out our gas stove from the truck and set it up on a grassy patch beside the road. Friends, whenever we were delayed or stuck in a jam, we'd often cook our meals in the truck. Every truck driver does it. For us, a truck is almost like a home. Half our lives are spent on these roads. It was nighttime, and we didn't have many vegetables, just a few potatoes left. David was an excellent cook, and he took charge of preparing the meal. While he cooked, I went to fetch water from the spring. We kept the truck's headlights on to illuminate the area. One thing I must mention, when I went to the spring, I felt a strange sensation, as if someone was watching me. It felt unsettling, but I couldn't explain it. Was it my imagination or something else? I don't know. I quickly got the water and returned to David. The forest around us looked dense, but our spot was relatively open. Beyond us, the forest became much thicker. I had chosen to stop here because I knew it wasn't wise to stop deep inside a dense forest, and that man had also warned us not to stop on this road. This clearing was relatively close to the start of the back road, before the deep forest began, about 2 miles in, as the man had described. I felt this was the safest place to stop. Soon the potato curry was ready, and we both ate our fill. David had made it delicious. After dinner, we packed everything back into the truck. Then we started the truck again and continued our journey. A little further, the dense forest began. As we drove into it, my eyes caught a large sign by the roadside. Something was written on it. As my truck's headlights illuminated the sign, I saw a warning written in big, bold letters. But friends, I ignored that warning and kept driving, which was my biggest mistake. I wish I had read that warning carefully. Perhaps then what happened next could have been avoided. Friends, I want to tell all of you, many people on the highway ignore warning signs. We shouldn't do that. Warnings are there for our benefit. They alert us to potential dangers. At that moment, I just thought it was a generic warning about wild animals, and that's why I ignored it. As we drove deeper, the road became even more desolate. The darkness was profound, and we couldn't see anything beyond the reach of our headlights. Our truck was the only vehicle on that road. The atmosphere grew increasingly eerie. Soon David said, "Boss, I'm sleepy. I'm going to rest for a bit." I told him, "No problem, go lie down on the bunk behind the seats." David went to sleep. Everything was normal until then. David quickly fell asleep, and now it was just me driving on that deserted road. After David went to sleep, the road felt even more terrifying. For a while, all was quiet, but then I suddenly heard someone crying. Friends, as I was driving, I heard a woman crying, and her wails echoed through the entire forest. Many of you might be wondering who would be crying in the middle of the night. I wondered the same thing. The crying was of a woman, loud and distressed, as if she was in pain. As my truck moved forward, the crying grew louder and louder. And after hearing the continuous crying for a while, I felt a deep unease. I slowed down the truck. Then I called out to David. After calling his name 2 or 3 times, David woke up and asked, "What's wrong, boss?" "Why are you waking me up? Is something wrong?" I told him, "Nothing's wrong, but did you hear a woman crying?" David replied, "No, boss, I didn't hear anyone crying." Just as I was talking to David, the crying stopped. David asked, "Who was crying, boss?" "Whose voice did you hear?" I said, "I heard a woman crying loudly." "I thought maybe you heard it too." He replied, "Boss, you must have heard a wild animal. Who would be crying in such a dense forest? Maybe it's just your imagination." I insisted, "It can't be my imagination. I heard it very clearly." Anyway, I told him, "Never mind, go back to sleep." Maybe my ears are playing tricks on me. David went back to sleep. A little while later, as I continued driving, I suddenly sensed some movement in front of the truck. Then I saw something that startled me. I gathered myself and looked carefully ahead. Friends, you must be wondering what I saw that made me jump. Well, I saw a small boy running out of the forest, crossing the road very quickly, and disappearing into the forest on the other side. Everything happened so fast. The boy, who looked about 5 to 7 years old, was running incredibly fast. When I saw him cross the road, I was completely shocked and immediately slammed on the brakes. Friends, I felt a deep sense of unease. I couldn't understand how a child could be in this dense and terrifying forest at this hour, and why he was running into the woods. Many questions arose in my mind. After seeing the boy run into the forest, I stopped the truck. Then I woke David up again. He asked, "What now, boss?" I told him I just saw a small boy cross the road and run into the forest on the other side, moving very fast. David sat up and said, "Boss, what boy could that be? Who did you see?" I replied, "That's what I can't figure out either. Where did that boy come from?" But David again said, "Boss, maybe it's your imagination. You must have seen a wild animal. Who would be in this forest at this hour? We wouldn't dare go into this forest, so how could a child be there?" He added, "Boss, let's get out of here quickly. I don't like this place. The forest is so dense, and we don't even know how much longer it will take to reach the main highway." Taking David's advice, I started the truck again. David got up from the back and sat in the front with me. My doing had disturbed his sleep twice. David was now alert, carefully scanning both sides of the road. Seeing him doing this, I asked, "What's wrong, David?" "What are you looking at?" He replied, "Boss, I don't feel good about this. Did we make a mistake by coming this way?" I asked, "Why do you say that?" He said, "Boss, first you heard a woman crying and then you saw a child. I'm wondering, boss, if this could be a trap by robbers. Maybe it's a ploy to stop us." Hearing David, I agreed, "You're absolutely right. I'm thinking the same thing. That truck driver did warn us not to stop on this road, and if we did, not to get out. Perhaps he was warning us about robbers." I also told David, "Now we will not stop this truck on this road at all." After that, we kept driving the truck continuously. For a while, everything remained normal. But then, we saw something that utterly terrified and unnerved us. Friends, you must be wondering what we saw this time that made us so scared. Well, we saw that same boy again, right in front of us on the road, the one I had seen crossing the road earlier behind us. Friends, the boy's appearance was quite bizarre. He had no hair on his head and appeared completely naked. He was running along the side of the road with incredible speed. This time, my co-driver David also saw him, and he was equally shocked and visibly frightened. As for me, fear began to creep in. We slowed down the truck and followed the boy. He looked completely pale, almost white. We couldn't see his face because he kept running forward. Seeing him running like that on the road, we knew this couldn't be normal. Then David said, "Boss, I'm really scared now. I don't think this is an ordinary child. Boss, I don't know what to do. What will we do?" Hearing my co-driver, I tried to give him courage, saying, "Don't worry, this isn't the time to be scared." We continued following the boy. After a little while, the boy ran into the forest again. When that happened, we sped up our truck, trying to get out of there as fast as possible. Friends, we had accelerated the truck, and now we absolutely did not want to stop on that road. A little further on, our truck received a powerful jolt. It felt as if we had hit something. When I realized our truck had collided with something, I immediately stopped. But I couldn't understand one thing. How could our truck get such a jolt in the middle of the road? And what did we hit, especially since our truck was driving in the middle of the lane? I'd stopped the truck, but neither of us had the courage to get out. We needed to check if there was any damage to the truck, as the jolt was very strong, enough to be felt inside the cabin. After stopping the truck, we looked at each other. Then David said, "Boss, what was that jolt?" From how it felt, I think the truck must have sustained a lot of damage. I replied, "That's what I'm thinking too. But the problem is, how do we get out of the truck?" Friends, we were both gripped by fear after seeing that boy. But then I told my co-driver David, getting out of the truck right now would be the biggest foolishness. "It doesn't feel safe to step outside," David agreed. So we decided to drive the truck forward without checking the damage, as the engine was still running. I had only applied the brakes after feeling the jolt. We were just discussing moving forward when someone started pounding hard on my truck window. When I heard the knocking, I was instantly terrified. If you stop your truck in the middle of a forest and suddenly someone starts knocking on your window on a deserted road, it's natural to be scared. Well, when my truck window was knocked, I looked outside and I saw a woman. She looked to be around 30 to 35 years old. Seeing her knocking on the window like that, I asked, "Sister, who are you? And what are you doing here at this hour of the night?" Hearing me, the woman said, "Brother, my child is lost. I can't find him. If you help me find him, I would be very grateful." Friends, if I describe the woman, she looked quite poor. She was wearing torn old clothes and her hair was disheveled. To be honest, I felt sorry for her, but what struck me as odd was what she was doing on this desolate road at such a late hour. Anyway, I then asked the woman, "How can we help you?" "You should report it to a police station. The police will find your child." Hearing me, the woman said, "I will go to the police station. But if you give me a ride forward, it would be a great kindness. There's a police station a little further from here. You can drop me there." Hearing all her pleas, I felt pity for her, and then I told her, "No problem, sister, come on in, I'll drop you there." The woman smiled a little and then told me, "I have a bag, and it's quite heavy. If you could help me load it into the truck, it would be a great favor. Your truck is quite high, and the items in this bag are a bit heavy. It would be good if you could get down and help me load this bag." Hearing the woman, I told her, "No problem, you come to the other side of the truck. My co-driver will help you lift the bag." After that, the woman went to the other side of the truck where David was sitting. When she did, she knocked on David's side window. When that happened, I told my co-driver, David, "Go outside and help that woman. She has a heavy bag. Get down and help her." But when I told David this, he said, "Boss, have you gone mad? What is this woman doing on this deserted road at such a late hour and with a bag? Just a while ago, she was saying her child was lost, and now she's carrying a bag somewhere. Boss, think about it. Which lone woman would be in the middle of a forest at this time of night? Boss, listen to me. Let's get out of here as fast as possible." This seems like something else altogether. Hearing my co-driver David, his words seemed right to me, and then I decided not to give this woman a ride and to just keep going. Friends, as soon as I started the truck forward, I heard a terrible shriek from behind. That shriek was so terrifying that the entire forest echoed with it. We were speeding our truck forward as fast as we could. After driving a little further, David also let out a scream. When David did that, I asked him, "What's wrong, David? Why are you screaming?" Hearing me, he pointed his finger towards the side mirror on the outside of the truck and then said, "Boss, I don't think we're getting out of here alive tonight." Then he told me, "Look, boss, that child is clinging to the back of our truck." Friends, when I looked in David's side mirror, my condition also worsened. David was absolutely right. That child was indeed clinging to the side of the truck, and slowly he was moving towards David's window. The way a spider sticks to a wall and moves, exactly like that, the child was clinging to the side of our truck. Both our conditions had deteriorated, and we were trembling with fear. Not only that, friends, the woman who was asking me for a ride earlier was now running incredibly fast in my side mirror, approaching us rapidly. A little later, that woman reached very close to my truck. But this time, her entire face had changed. She had transformed completely into a witch. That witch was running right alongside my truck. Her eyes looked like burning embers, and she was glaring at me with those terrifying eyes. Her hair was very long and disheveled, flying in the wind and looking even more horrifying. Her mouth was wide open, and I could see very large teeth protruding. Her fingernails also looked very long and black. Now that witch was right next to my window. My condition inside the truck, friends, I cannot even begin to describe it to you. My entire body was trembling uncontrollably. I was drenched in sweat. Not only that, friends, that child had also reached David's window, and he too looked very terrifying. He had no eyes, only deep black hollows were visible to us. David had moved away from the window and was clutching my steering wheel, and he was also extremely scared. That little child had completely transformed into a spirit. We saw death on both our sides. My hands and feet had stopped working. One more thing that I understood a little later was why those two spirits hadn't attacked us yet. That realization had not dawned on me until then. Inside the cabin, our condition was terrible. We were just praying to God, "Oh God, save us." As we were praying to God, my eyes fell on the idol of God placed inside the cabin. When that happened, I felt a little courage, because now I understood that these two spirits and the witch couldn't enter our truck because of the idol of God in the cabin. And perhaps because of this idol, they hadn't attacked us yet. So after that, I gave myself a little courage and told David, "There's nothing to fear, David. They can't harm us. As long as we're inside the truck, we're safe." Hearing me, he asked, "How, boss?" So I showed David the idol of God inside the cabin. Seeing it, his fear also lessened a bit. I was just telling David that we shouldn't pay attention to these spirits because they want us to lose control of the truck out of fear, and then they'll kill and eat us. Hearing me, David took God's name very loudly. And then, a little later, we saw the main highway. As soon as we reached the main highway, those spirits and the witch vanished instantly. Friends, our lives were saved by a miracle. God saved us that day. It's true what they say, what is meant to happen, happens. And perhaps it was meant for us to experience this, and it did. The big thing was that we returned alive and safe. After that, we pulled our truck to the side and thanked God. Then we reached our destination and delivered our cargo. After delivering the cargo and returning while eating at a diner, we shared our terrifying experience with other truck drivers so that it wouldn't happen to them as it did to us. Hearing our story, one of the drivers told us, "Your story is absolutely true. Many drivers have lost their lives on that road." He also told us that some years ago, a truck driver had run over a small child on that very road. The child's mother couldn't bear the shock and went mad. Every day, she would come to that spot looking for her child, and then one day, her body was found in the forest there. Many people say that even today, that woman takes revenge for her child's death by killing truck drivers. And he also told us, "You guys are lucky to have escaped alive from there." Now, one more thing that driver told us was, "You should have read that warning." The warning written on a board at the beginning of that forest-like area said that at night, this road is considered cursed. And even today, the fear of that witch and spirit haunts that forest. Friends, we truly made the biggest mistake by not reading that warning, and perhaps we received our punishment. But you all never make such a mistake. It was just our good fortune that we survived. Not everyone is that lucky. So friends, how did you like our story? If you want to hear more such stories, don't forget to subscribe to US Frights. Friends, just like my other videos, please show your love and support for this one too. Your support has brought me this far, and I hope that with your strength, our US Frights family will grow much bigger one day. If anyone is new to the channel, please subscribe to become a part of our family. And to all those who have already subscribed, I express my heartfelt gratitude. With that, I want to say goodbye to all of you. Bye, friends.